my God. You came for me.
Dogs aren't allowed in here, ma'am. This is a maximum security prison. The officer blocked Lauren's entry at the main gate. Please, it's my sister's last wish before her execution. Lauren's voice quavered, clutching Duke's leash tightly. Ma'am, we don't make exceptions, especially for convicted murderers. Bystanders watched, murmuring about the woman insistent on bringing an animal to death row. None realized that German Shepherd held evidence that would expose the greatest legal conspiracy in Texas history. Before we delve into this remarkable tale of loyalty and justice, leave a comment below and share where you're watching from. You're about to witness how a woman's bond with her dog became the key to unmasking a deadly plot. Enjoy the story. The icy concrete walls of Huntsville Federal Penitentiary had seen countless final mornings, but none matched this one. Abigail Foster perched on her narrow cot's edge, hands trembling, staring at the digital clock. 5:30 a.m. In 3.5 hours her life would end. The metallic clank of footsteps reverberated down the hall as Warden Charles Harper neared her cell. His face, etched by 28 years in the prison system, bore a unique weight today. Abigail, he said quietly, pausing at the steel bars. Anything you need before. Abigail lifted her gaze, her brown eyes empty yet steadfast. Yes, one thing, Warden Harper. It may sound insane, but I need to see Duke one last time. Harper furrowed his brow. Duke? My dog, Abigail whispered, her voice cracking. He's a German Shepherd. My sister Lauren has cared for him since my arrest. I know the rules, but please, he's all I have left. The only one who still believes I'm innocent. The warden shifted, uneasy. In his entire career he'd never encountered such a request. Animals were barred from maximum security wings, especially on execution day. Abigail, you know I can't. Please, she cut in, rising and gripping the bars. I raised him from a pup. Found him abandoned, dying on a dirt road. We saved each other. He visits weekly and I see it in his eyes. He knows I didn't kill my husband. He knows. Harper scrutinized her face. Despite the damning evidence and jury verdict, a sincerity in Abigail's desperation struck him. I'll see what I can do, he said at last. Abigail's eyes brimmed with tears. Thank you. It's all I wanted. To say goodbye to the one being who never doubted me. As Harper walked away, he couldn't shake the intuition that this seemingly simple request might hold a significance no one could foresee. 4 years earlier, Abigail Foster's life was the picture of perfection. A successful human rights attorney, she ran her own firm in downtown Houston. Her husband, Ethan Brooks, owned one of Texas's largest construction firms, their mansion sprawling across 5 acres in an affluent neighborhood. Yet perfection was a mirage. Abigail met Ethan in 2013 at a charity dinner. He was captivating, wealthy, and relentless. They wed in 2014 in a ceremony gracing society pages. For the first year, Ethan was the perfect spouse, showering her with flowers, arranging extravagant vacations, and championing her career. In 2015, everything shifted. Ethan began drinking heavily. He scorned Abigail's work, dismissing it as foolish idealism. When she defended clients, he erupted. The first assault came amid a dispute over a case for an immigrant family. You care more about strangers than your own husband, he roared, slapping her. Abigail froze. Ethan instantly apologized, weeping and begging forgiveness, vowing it wouldn't recur. But it did. Repeatedly. The abuse intensified over the next 2 years. Ethan controlled her finances, tracked her calls, and cut off her friends. Abigail was trapped, too ashamed to reveal the torment behind closed doors. On September 15, 2017, Ethan was found lifeless in his home office, shot thrice in the chest. Abigail discovered the body after a meeting. She dialed 911 but soon became the prime suspect. The evidence was compelling. Her fingerprints on the murder weapon, gunshot residue on her hands. Neighbors reported constant arguments. Her lawyer claimed self-defense, but the prosecution portrayed her as a cold-blooded killer who planned the act. The jury deliberated just 4 hours before convicting her of first-degree murder, sentencing her to death. Now, 18 months later, Abigail waited in her cell, condemned for a crime she insisted she didn't commit. The sole creature who trusted her was her dog, Duke. On a frigid February morning in 2016, Abigail first saw Duke. Returning from a grueling court case, she spotted a shape on Highway 6's shoulder. Initially mistaking it for trash, she slowed and realized it was a dog. She pulled over and found a young German Shepherd, nearly lifeless, blood-soaked. His left paw was badly injured, ribs visible beneath filthy fur. Someone had abandoned him to die. "Easy boy," Abigail whispered, wrapping him in her coat. "I'll take care of you." She sped to the clinic of Dr. Samuel Grant, a kind man in his 60s with over 3 decades of expertise. Dr. Grant labored 3 hours to save the dog. "He's lucky you found him," he said post-surgery. "Another hour and he wouldn't have survived." "Know his owner?" Abigail shook her head. "I found him abandoned on the road. No collar or tags. Can you check for a microchip?" No chip was found. The dog had no ID or anyone seeking him. Abigail gazed at the sleeping animal and made a life-changing choice. "I'll take him home," she declared. "He needs someone." She named him Duke, and from that day they were inseparable. Duke recovered fully, though slowly. He trailed her everywhere and seemed to sense Ethan's moods. During heated arguments, Duke positioned himself between them, growling softly. Ethan loathed the dog. "Get rid of that mangy mutt," he bellowed. "It's nothing but trouble." Abigail stood firm. Duke was her sole comfort in a marriage turned hellish. When Ethan struck her, Duke licked her tears. When she wept in her room, he rested his head in her lap. After Abigail's arrest, Lauren took custody of Duke. Weekly, Lauren brought him for prison visits. The dog pressed his snout against the divider and whimpered, as if grasping Abigail's confinement. Those visits preserved Abigail's sanity through the bleakest months. Duke never wavered in his belief in her innocence, even as the world condemned her. Warden Harper returned to his office, Abigail's words lingering. In 28 years of service, he'd never faced such a request. Animals were strictly forbidden in maximum security areas, particularly on execution day. He sat and scanned the hefty prison regulation manual. Page 247 was unequivocal. No unauthorized animals are permitted in secure facilities under any circumstance. Violating this could end his career, but something in Abigail's plea troubled him. He'd seen hundreds of inmates in their final hours. Most pleaded for mercy, proclaimed innocence, or raged against the system. Abigail was unique. She didn't beg for life, she sought to bid farewell to her dog. Harper picked up the phone and called the director's office in Austin. "Sir, I have an unusual request from Abigail Foster. She wants to see her dog before her execution." Director Phillips paused. "You know that violates every regulation, Charles?" "I do, sir, but she's been a model inmate for 18 months. No incidents. It's her only request." "What's your instinct, Charles?" Harper glanced out at the prison yard. "My instinct says this woman's sincere about something. I can't explain it, but I've seen plenty of guilty folks and she doesn't fit the mold." Another long pause. "You have 20 minutes clearance, but this stays off the record and maximum security protocols must be followed. If anything goes wrong, it's on you." Harper hung up and dialed Lauren. "Ms. Bennett, this is Warden Harper from Huntsville. Bring Duke to the prison by 7 a.m. Your sister's authorized to see him." Lauren could barely believe it. "Seriously? Oh my God, thank you. Abigail will be so grateful." "There'll be strict conditions," Harper cautioned. "The dog will undergo a full security check. Any issue and the visit's canceled." As Harper arranged it, he couldn't shake the sense that this decision might alter everything. Sometimes, life's most pivotal moments come disguised as simple requests. He only hoped he wasn't making the gravest error of his career. At 7:15, Lauren Bennett arrived at the gate with Duke in her car's rear. The German Shepherd sat quietly in his crate, sensing the tense atmosphere. Lauren's hands shook as she signed the forms. "Follow me to the security post," instructed Officer Carter. "The dog needs a thorough inspection before the visit." They led Duke to a sterile room where Dr. Ellen Hayes, the prison's veterinarian, waited. Dr. Hayes, a practical woman in her early 50s with over 2 decades of experience, asked, "What's the dog's name?" as she opened the crate. "Duke," Lauren replied. "He's very gentle. Abigail rescued him 2 years ago." Dr. Hayes palpated Duke's body, searching for hidden items or odd lumps. She checked his mouth, ears, and paws with skill. Duke stayed still as if sensing the moment's gravity. "He's clear so far," Dr. Hayes announced. Then she stopped. Her fingers detected something on Duke's neck, behind his left ear. "One moment." She parted the fur and inspected. A small, fine scar, nearly invisible, caught her eye. "That's strange," she murmured, summoning Harper. "Look at this scar. It's surgical, but not from a typical vet procedure." Harper examined it. "Could it be from his injury as a pup?" "No," Dr. Hayes replied. "This is recent, maybe 6 months old." and far too precise for an accident. Someone used a scalpel here. Lauren frowned. That's impossible. Duke hasn't had surgery since Abigail's arrest. I'd know. Dr. Hayes looked at Harper. Sir, protocol demands an X-ray for unidentified surgical marks. There might be something concealed. Harper's stomach tightened. How long will it take? 15 minutes for the X-ray, sir. Harper checked his watch. 7:45. Abigail's execution was set for 9 o'clock. He'd promised 20 minutes with Duke, but everything was shifting. Do it, he ordered. And call security. I want this room locked down until we know what we're dealing with. At 7:45, a portable X-ray machine was brought in. Duke stood calmly on the metal table as Dr. Hayes positioned the device. The machine hummed, capturing the image. When the X-ray appeared on the computer screen, the room fell silent. What in the world is that? Harper whispered. There, clear as day, was a small rectangular object beneath Duke's skin. It wasn't a standard microchip. It was larger and more intricate. I've never seen anything like this, Dr. Hayes said. It's definitely artificial, but I don't know what it is. Harper ordered an immediate partial evacuation. Code yellow. I need explosives experts here now. Within minutes, Sergeant Turner, a bomb specialist, arrived. He scanned Duke's neck with a metal detector, confirming the object's presence. It's not explosive, Turner said after tests, but it's electronic. Looks like some kind of storage device. Dr. Hayes prepared a local anesthetic. I can remove it safely, but I need authorization for surgery. Harper glanced at his watch. 8:10. 50 minutes remained. Lauren wept in a corner, bewildered. I don't understand. Who would do this to Duke? Why? Perform the surgery, Harper directed. I need to know what this is. Dr. Hayes worked with precision. The device, thumb drive sized, was encased in surgical plastic. As she removed it, everyone leaned closer. It's a modified micro SD card, Turner said. Someone went to great lengths to conceal this. Harper's heart pounded. He'd never encountered anything like it. Can we read what's on it? We'll need a computer, Turner said, but yes, it should be possible. As they prepared to reveal Duke's secrets, Harper wondered, did Abigail know about this? If so, what was she hiding that justified risking her dog's life? At 8:25, forensic tech Ryan Mitchell plugged the device into his laptop. Dozens of audio files appeared, dated from April to September 2017. Harper stood behind him, tense. There are 43 recordings, Mitchell said. Some brief, others several minutes long. Play the first, Harper commanded. Mitchell clicked the file from April 15, 2017. The room hushed as voices filled the air. The first was Ethan Brooks, Abigail's supposedly deceased husband. You sure this will work, Sullivan? Ethan's voice was anxious. A deeper voice replied, Ethan, I've been a prosecutor for 15 years. Trust me. When I'm done, everyone will believe you're dead and Abigail killed you. Harper's blood ran cold. District Attorney Sullivan had sent Abigail to death row. He was meant to seek justice, not plot with the alleged victim. And the body? Ethan asked. It's handled, Sullivan replied. We found a homeless man matching your height and build. Pierce will manage the autopsy and dental records. No one will question it. The recording continued, outlining money transfers and escape plans. When it ended, silence blanketed the room. Play another, Harper said, his voice thick with fury. Mitchell selected a May file. This time, 3 voices, Ethan, Sullivan, and a woman. Detective Morgan, are you set to plant the evidence? Sullivan asked. For $2 million, I'm set for anything, the woman replied. I'll ensure Abigail's prints are on the gun and residues on her hands. Harper recognized the voice. Detective Morgan led Abigail's case. As more audios played, the horrific scheme unfolded. Abigail hadn't killed Ethan. He'd staged his death to frame her, aided by those sworn to uphold the law. Mitchell kept playing files as Harper paced. Each revealed more shocking details. A June recording disclosed Ethan's motive to Sullivan. The feds are closing in. They traced the $15 million I siphoned from government contracts. If I don't vanish, I'm facing life in prison. Sullivan's voice was steady. So, you fake your death, Abigail takes the blame, and you start fresh in Mexico with a new identity. And the money? It's already in Cayman accounts, Ethan replied. Once Abigail's convicted, I'll access it all as Nathan Cole. Another recording exposed the recruitment of Dr. George Pierce, the coroner. $5 million to falsify the report, Sullivan told Pierce. Just identify the vagrant's body as Ethan Brooks, swap dental records, and no one will know. Pierce sounded hesitant. What if they challenge my findings? They won't, Sullivan assured. The investigation will be cursory. Morgan will steer it toward Abigail. The evidence would be overwhelming. The most disturbing recording from July, 2 months before the ruse, featured all 4 conspirators. Abigail's growing suspicious, Ethan reported. She's questioning my calls. Then we accelerate the schedule, Sullivan decided. Morgan, how long do you need? 2 weeks, Morgan replied. I need to place Abigail's prints on the gun and prep the residue. And secure witnesses to their fights, Sullivan added. The jury needs a motive. Harper felt nauseated. They discussed ruining an innocent woman's life with chilling detachment. They were justice's guardians. Each recording confirmed, Abigail Foster was innocent, betrayed by the system. The most critical recording from August 10th, 5 weeks before the death, detailed the plan. Ethan told Sullivan, I found the perfect body, a homeless man named Caleb Riley. No one will miss him. Morgan's contact will handle him tomorrow. Sullivan's voice was calculated. And the crime scene? 3 shots to Riley's chest as planned. Then we'll burn his face and hands with acid to hinder identification. Pierce will do the rest at autopsy. Harper's stomach churned. They plan to murder an innocent to frame Abigail. And Abigail's alibi? Sullivan asked. She has a client meeting that night, Ethan said. I arranged it. She'll arrive, find the body, call 911 and walk into our trap. The recordings revealed meticulous planning. Abigail's prints would be planted on the gun during questioning. Residue applied during arrest. Sullivan would ensure a one-sided investigation. The brilliance, Ethan continued, is Abigail won't suspect a thing. She sees me as just an abusive spouse. She has no idea I'm clever enough to stage my death and pin it on her. Sullivan chuckled. When she realizes she'll be on the execution table, and you'll be a king in Mexico with 15 million. The final recording was Ethan's voice like a diary. Tomorrow's the day. Abigail has no clue. She'll die believing she couldn't prove her innocence. And I'll be free with more money than I dreamed. The best revenge is letting another pay for your crimes. At 8:20, 40 minutes before the execution, Mitchell found another set of recordings. Not the conspirators but Abigail's voice, low and urgent. The first from July 18th. I don't know who'll hear this but I must record it. Ethan was on the phone in his office, discussing faking his death. I thought I misheard but he mentioned my name. Said I'd be blamed for killing him. Harper shivered. Abigail knew. I've been secretly recording his calls for a week, her voice continued. He doesn't know about the app on my phone. I record from the next room. The next from July 25th. It's worse than I feared, Abigail said, voice trembling. Ethan's with Prosecutor Sullivan and Detective Morgan. They'll kill a homeless man to stage Ethan's death and plant evidence against me. Harper realized Abigail had collected evidence for months. I called Dr. Grant today. He's been our family vet for years and I trust him. I told him the danger, and he suggested something that might save me if their plan succeeds. The recording paused. Dr. Grant said we could implant a storage device in Duke's neck. If I'm arrested and can't prove my innocence, maybe the evidence in Duke will save me. It's madness but it's my only hope. An August 5th recording detailed the procedure. Dr. Grant performed the surgery today, Abigail said. Duke was so brave. We implanted a micro SD card with all the recordings. If something happens to me and Duke reaches the prison, maybe someone will find the truth. Harper glanced at Duke lying on the table. The loyal dog had carried proof of Abigail's innocence for over 6 months. Abigail's final recording was heart-shattering. If you're hearing this, my worst fears came true. Ethan framed me and I'll likely die for a crime I didn't commit. But no, Duke holds my proof of innocence. He's not just my dog, he's my sole hope for justice. At 8:30, 30 minutes left, Harper called the FBI in Houston. This is Warden Harper from Huntsville. I need Agent Porter immediately. We have evidence of a conspiracy involving Prosecutor Sullivan and Detective Morgan. While awaiting the FBI, Harper called Governor Wallace's emergency line. Governor, it's Charles Harper. I need an immediate stay of Abigail Foster's execution. We have recordings proving her innocence and that her husband staged his death. Charles, you'd better be certain, the governor replied. I can't stop an execution on claims alone. Sir, we have 43 recordings of the conspirators planning it. Ethan Brooks is alive in Mexico under a false identity. Mitchell kept verifying audios as Harper made calls. The files were authentic. The voices matched. At 8:45, FBI agents arrived. Agent Porter took charge of the evidence while Turner coordinated arrests. "We need Ethan Brooks's location," Porter said, listening to the audios. "Per the files, he's in Tijuana as Nathan Cole," Harper informed. Turner was on the radio. "All units, arrest warrants for Sullivan, Morgan, and Pierce. Sullivan's at the courthouse. Morgan at home. Pierce at the morgue." The operation was swift. Teams fanned out across Houston to apprehend the conspirators. At 8:50, Porter contacted Mexican authorities. "We need assistance locating an American fugitive in Tijuana. Ethan Brooks, using the identity Nathan Cole." Harper checked his watch. 10 minutes remained. Turner's radio crackled. "Sullivan's in custody. Morgan arrested at home, but Pierce..." The voice paused. "Pierce is dead, sir. Parent suicide. Left a confession note." Harper felt relief mixed with horror. At 8:55, Harper's phone rang. It was Governor Wallace. "Charles, based on the evidence, I'm granting an immediate stay. Abigail Foster's sentence is suspended pending full investigation." Hanging up, Harper realized they'd achieved the impossible. With just 5 minutes left, they saved an innocent woman. By 10 o'clock, the 3 surviving conspirators were in custody. Interrogations began in separate rooms. Sullivan, his expensive suit rumpled, looked defeated. For 15 years he'd been the county's top prosecutor. Now he faced life imprisonment. "The recordings are fabricated," he insisted feebly. "Someone framed me. Mr. Sullivan, voice analysis will confirm it's you. And we have bank records of Ethan Brooks's payments to your accounts. You face charges of conspiracy to commit murder, fraud, and obstruction," Porter said. Sullivan's face paled. After an hour he broke. "It wasn't meant to go this far. Ethan said it was simple fraud. I never thought Abigail would be executed." In another room, Morgan stayed silent, but the evidence was crushing. Meanwhile, Mexican police located Ethan in a Tijuana apartment, living comfortably as Nathan Cole. Confronted, he tried to flee. He was caught 3 blocks away with a suitcase of cash and fake documents. "It's a mistake," he protested. "I'm Nathan Cole." But the recordings exposed the truth. His voice, plotting an innocent's murder to frame his wife, was undeniable. "How did you get this?" Ethan demanded, composure crumbling. "I was so careful. Only we 4 knew." "Your wife knew," Porter replied. "She recorded everything and hid the proof where you'd never think to look." Ethan's face twisted. "Abigail? Impossible. She's not that clever." "Clever enough to save her life," Porter retorted. "With a dog who loved her more than you ever did." On March 16, 2018, after 18 hours of investigation, Abigail Foster left prison a free woman. Governor Wallace held a press conference with Abigail beside him. "Today we saw our system fail and triumph," he said. Abigail Foster was wrongfully convicted, but truth set her free. Texas apologizes for this error. Abigail stood silent, dazed by freedom after 18 months. "How do you feel?" a reporter shouted. Abigail glanced at the crowd, then at Duke by her side. "Grateful to be alive," she said, "and thankful to all who helped." Later, the state offered an $8 million settlement. Her lawyer advised acceptance. $8 million won't return my 18 months, Abigail told Lauren. But it can help me rebuild and aid others. Her reunion with Duke was the most moving moment. As Abigail knelt and embraced him, the dog seemed to know the nightmare was over. He licked her face as if vowing never to leave her. "You saved my life, boy," Abigail whispered. "You held the truth when no one else believed." Their story swept the globe. Abigail avoided most interviews, focusing on recovery. That night, she entered her home for the first time in 18 months. Duke raced through every room, reacquainting himself with his home. At bedtime, he curled up beside her bed as before. "We're home, Duke," Abigail said. Finally. For the first time in 18 months, Abigail slept peacefully, knowing justice had prevailed. Abigail's case drove sweeping changes in Texas's judiciary. The Attorney General ordered reviews of all Sullivan's cases. 8 showed corruption signs. 3 more were freed. Detective Morgan received 25 years. Sullivan got life without parole. Ethan Brooks was extradited and sentenced to death for Caleb Riley's murder. Texas passed laws mandating independent oversight for death penalty cases. Abigail used her settlement to found the Foster Justice Foundation, aiding domestic violence victims and the wrongfully convicted. I know what it's like to face the system alone, she said at its launch. No one should endure that. Dr. Samuel Grant started a therapy dog training program with inmates. Duke showed animals can be heroes, he said. These dogs give hope to those who've lost everything. Lauren wrote the bestseller Truth on Four Paws, donating profits to anti-death penalty groups. Harper enacted policies to consider unusual inmate requests carefully. Sometimes the greatest discoveries come from unexpected places, he said. A year after her release, Abigail Foster opened the Duke Foundation Sanctuary, a refuge for abandoned animals and a legal aid center for the wrongfully convicted, built with her settlement funds. Duke, now 5, sat beside her. A year ago I was sentenced to die, Abigail told the crowd. I was saved by a dog's love. Among attendees were families aided by the foundation and lawyers inspired by her fight. Duke taught me truth doesn't always come as expected, Abigail said. Sometimes it arrives on 4 paws with a heart that won't quit. Since opening, the sanctuary proved 12 people's innocence. Dozens of rescued dogs played on the grounds, finding new homes. Know what, Duke? Abigail said, hugging her loyal friend. I think we made something good of our second chance. Duke wagged his tail and licked her face. The sun set as the 2 survivors headed home, proving love and truth outshine any conspiracy. Their story would inspire many, showing that sometimes, the greatest heroes come in unexpected forms. If this story touched you, comment below. What lesson did you learn from Abigail and Duke's journey? Don't forget to subscribe to What No One Saw and like the video to support more stories like this.